Now to the latest developments in the deadly kidnapping of 4 Americans in Mexico. NBC News has learned from a law enforcement source familiar with the matter that a 5th person was on that road trip this morning. We're getting new details on that. And just last night, a vigil for the group was held at a church in Scranton, South Carolina, a town near the victim's hometown of Lake City. The community mourned the lives lost and lifted the survivors up in prayer.
This could have been any of us. This could have been any of our children, it could have been my son or my daughter. So we didn't come here tonight to point fingers or judge anybody, but yet we're going to pray that God will hold these families, that God will bless them in this time.
NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber joins us now from Lake City with the latest on all this. Ellison, good morning. So I know you were at the vigil last night. What exactly did you hear from the people who attended?
And Clay, at Lake City, which, as you said, is the hometown of all 4 victims, it's a really small community. The population here is less than 6,000, so it's not hard to find people who know of the victims or know their parents or are in some way connected to them. This is something that has hit this community very hard because it is so small, because it is so close-knit. What we kept hearing from people is just absolute shock that something like this could happen to people they know from such a small community. They say again and again that they are devastated for the families whose loved ones went on this journey and then never came back, and they are also relieved and grateful that some of them survived. Listen.
The connections are very intertwined. We all went to school together. Lake City is a small community. It's just tragic. We're sad. The whole community is sad. Nobody could get any sleep. And we're glad for the 2 survivors, and we're mourning the deaths of the 2 that were lost.
Everyone that we have spoken to, they say again and again that these 4 individuals, they were super close. They say even from childhood, you would often see all 4 of them together. They weren't surprised that they all had taken this journey as a group, as a unit. One person said she'd seen people on social media saying, why would so many adults be going on this one trip together? And she said, look, a lot of us have Gullah Geechee heritage. And she said, what we are taught by elders in our community is that we stick together and we travel together, in part for our own safety, but just because culturally speaking, this is a community that is very tight, that tries to look out for one another. And one person said to me, if I was driving 45 minutes, I would pick up the phone. I would call a first cousin and say, hey, I'm going to this city. Will you come with me? So they weren't surprised that they were all together, particularly these 4, but they are absolutely shocked that something like this could happen to people they know. Clay?
I mean, truly shocking. And the big development now is that we know there was a 5th person who went along for the trip. Ellison, what information do we have on who that person is and why they were not with the group when the other 4 were kidnapped?
So a law enforcement official who is close to this case is telling NBC News that this 5th individual traveled with the group, but then did not cross into Mexico because she lacked the proper documentation. There is a Facebook Live video that one of the surviving victims, Eric Williams, who was shot in the leg, he posted on Facebook at some point during this journey, and you can see that 5th person sleeping in the back of the car as they're making this long trek to Mexico. She has since identified herself in conversations, text messages with the Associated Press. She says that she stayed at a hotel on the other side of the border and that she was actually expecting everyone to be back within about 15 minutes. She said that she thought her friends were going to take Latavia McGee to get her cosmetic procedure and then come back to the hotel. She said she had all of their luggage at the hotel, but then didn't hear from them and started to get worried and notified local police that her friends had gone into Mexico and then had not come back. Clay.
So devastating. A lot to follow in this investigation. Ellison Barber, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.